Okay, and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Field of Glory Empires as Sparta in the Persian DLC. In the last stream, because this is the beginning of the third stream, the last stream we did go ahead and protect our friend over here in Italy, making them a client state of us, and taking some territory off of the Romans, giving us a province over here in Italia Inferior. In the long run, this will probably be a semi-valuable state. In the short run, this has kind of distracted us from our really big problems, which is Persia and Macedonia. We've got our army slowly pulling back out. What we're going to try to do over the next couple turns is get ready, potentially to start something with Persia. I'm more worried about Persia than I am Macedonia, even though I think Macedonia for us is a little bit of a safer invasion. We go around the provinces. I think we did the usual stop at the end of a turn. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Diplomacy-wise, it may make sense to do some diplomacy with Rome. We have two claims on them that we're going to lose one way or the other. We're going to lose the one in Tiberias, we're going to lose the one in Liguria before we get around to them. So there's actually an argument for us to sell those to the Romans for something. The Romans also have some claims on us. They're not willing to trade that way. They'll take the claims off of us, but they're not willing to trade it back the other way. 29% in favor, plus 10 for other things, does not quite outrun everything else. I might be able to pay them off with something else. Okay, we'll come back to this. Things may change over the next couple turns. Yeah, discard the changes. We have peace with them. We have peace with Illyrica, who's their subject. With cooperation with Creta, who we probably want to try making friends, is a sort of alliance against the Persians. We got them in the client state. We got an alliance with them. Okay. Any regional decisions I want to play? Part of the siege isn't going to work. Bolster colony is not going to work because the new Roman territories aren't small enough. Same sort of thing with Federate Barbarian. We could draft Paradoki. We're not going to draft it there. Doing it in Rome is just a bad idea. Or not Rome. Doing it in Sparta is just a bad idea. That's because Sparta is probably where most of our manpower is coming from. And the biggest thing that draft Paradoki does is it drops your manpower from the place by 50%. And I think it sums with the existing modifiers. So right now we've got 45% there. We'd reduce it to 5%. That's bad. This is for the state that's making all our men. Yeah, don't do that there. We got some other places where it'd probably be sane to do it. Like 4. Yeah, we could lose. In fact, I think we lose the entire 4 there. But like we could lose that 4. That would be the end of the world. And we're doing it, able to do it there because that's where our fleet is. Okay. We've got that Spartan army. We've got that Spartan army. In hindsight, I think we'll actually pull both of them back. To fight over here. I'm not going to worry too much about the Romans. Hopefully. And then we've got the 6 here, which is the infantry, the archers, and the cav for the main combat stack when it gets back. Let's pass a couple turns, build up some money. Let's then see if it makes sense to do more troop expansion, or if we should go ahead and declare on the Persians without more troops. We're still in the progressing tier. That's good to see. I think the requirement for us to jump from tier 2 to tier 3 is a little bit higher than it is normally. Normally you could do it like 10 territories. We're in 3rd. You can see that Persia started off at like 0. So Persia being ahead of us is an issue. That is a sign that we are going to have to come after Persia. Can't allow them to keep that lead. We don't need more land taxes. Yeah, let's have you continue back to that port. You'll pick your troops up. We may... Have we cleared the negative over here? We have cleared the negative over here. I may attempt to raise the amount of food we're making on the island so we can pre-position on Ionia. Yeah. Okay, good to see... There's a war of some sort going on. Persian army... Oh, Iranian rebels. Okay. Hopefully want the Iranian rebels to win. They're probably not. I'm getting to liberate region, which we don't really want. And we do have an open slot here. Maybe an argument. I don't think I need this stone. So I'll probably pass on the core because we don't really need the stone. Reserved foods isn't really good unless you've got glass and pottery and stuff, so no. Furnace would give us access to ways to import copper. So I'm leaning towards that as an option. Food-wise, we've got all the important food ones. Yeah, let's, Oh, that's actually an interesting. We're up to 15 pop here. This disappears at 16, so we need to find that upgrade before this disappears. So we reroll. Makes that simple choice. Those want 2 turns, okay. 1 building slot here, so maybe trying to swap over to producing more stuff. We're not going to build walls. Basically, my rule is going to be if we've got no walls, we're not going to build walls. If we've got walls, we want them to max. Not ready really to import gold because we have to import it from Macedonia, who we're thinking of eventually going to war with. Noble District will pass on. Could do the Builder Hole. The Builder Guild is a way to import tools. Wouldn't be too bad. Also, I could go... This is probably a place where I do the aqueduct. The other one to grab would be the Physician House. Do I reroll into the Physician House? No, I'm gonna do the aqueduct. Because of the food when I saw it. And as soon as we're done building that aqueduct, we're gonna swap everyone over to food there. Everything's being built there. Some of the rest is coming down. It's good to see. Okay. And we want to build up a little bit more money than what we've got. Do we have enough money to do the slave market? We do. Go ahead and hit the distribute. And we don't have enough iron to export iron yet. The regionals, I think the only new one we got would have been the liberate region, which we don't want. So, second turn. I find it vaguely interesting that our ally is all up in our territory instead of, like, defending theirs, but that's what they're doing. Okay, so we rolled. Did we hit what we want? No. We hit something that is a tolerable choice. I'm on board with taking Crafting District here. It's technically not what we want. But it's not going to, like, break the bank. It's going to make finding some of the commerce choices a little bit harder, in particularly the Stoa. But I can work with that. That's not going to break the bank. Everything's set to complete, so we're going to leave it as is. Aqueduct set to complete next turn. Once one of those finishes, we'll have the food. We can put everything on production, or put everything on food again for the incoming troops to have a food supply. We like that we're easily repelling the invaders. Macedonia, I think, is still tier 1, is what's going on there. Tier 1 means they can do some if tier 1 plus low opinion can result in them raiding you. Which I think is what's going on. Would probably be a good idea if we weren't going to attack them to try to improve the relations. We're not going to bother. We got a 1-1 general. Who do we have in charge of the main combat stack? No one. We have no one in charge of the main combat stack. Okay. Don't want a defense penalty, so it's either 1-1 or 2-0. The 1-1 is more likely to hang around, so we'll leave him in charge. We'll go ahead. What is our experience level here? Is everyone 50 or above? No. We've got one person who isn't 50 or above. Okay. Oh, and the cap aren't 50 or above. So let's go ahead and put these guys in the capital. The capital has the Spartan special building that, if we give it enough time, will train the entire army up to 50 XP. And we've got another one over here. The second one... Actually, everyone in the second one is up to 50. Oh no, the shield bearers are just so terrible that they get to level 2 at sub 50. We could technically train up the shield bearers. I suppose we'll do that. We'll go and put them on that location. We'll also go and get a commander here. We'll give you the other one. And your guy's a little bit old. So, I think we've gone around everything at this point. Yeah. Got a forced march, which this isn't useful. And no replacement decisions for the one we spent. And the question here is, I'm thinking of declaring on these guys. Do we build up a second combat stack, really? Can I afford to build up a second combat stack? Should I build up the Navy? These are all questions that are running through my mind. Right, so it might make sense, for example, when we're in the plains over here, we have a frontage of 15. Our main combat stack has a frontage. If everything goes according to plan, it has a frontage of like 12. Because we don't want the archers getting in the front. So that's actually not ideal for fighting this terrain. It probably help to grab a couple skirmishers just to have someone to go in the front. In case the frontage ends up too wide. Because right now we've only got our frontage of 12. Yeah, that wouldn't actually be too much of a problem. The other alternative is to build up a second army, so we actually double stack the army when we come in here. We probably don't need that because it's just palisades here. We're probably not going to hang out in this territory for very long. The other, again, this may be an argument. We can still build these guys up. That would also be an argument maybe for raising Paradoki. So we got a 5, we got a 4. 4 is probably where we want to do it. Or 3 would be even better, but we're not going to run over there. Okay, so if I'm going to draft some Paradoki, that will give me some number of effectively medium infantry. Go ahead and do a draft Paradoki. I think I'm only going to do the 1. We want like 2 skirmishers. So we'll grab 2 skirmishers. The provincial skirmishers are better in melee than our national ones. So they're 2-3. They have 5 range attack. They have 3 range defense. They have effectiveness of 3 versus our cheap national guys who are 2-2 with 4 attack, 4 range attack. So these guys are just a little bit better. They're also good skirmishers versus regular skirmishers. So extra fatigue margin. Also get a bonus in force and rough. Or if we take some combat attrition, they'll be a little better in the mountains. So we'll grab 2 to add to this stack. I forget how many Paradoki, or Paroki, we get. So I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm going to assume that we're going to get like 4. So I'll grab 4 Mussolinian Javelineers to go behind them. I'm a little bit less worried about stack number 2 not having adequate frontage, because then we're just going to lose the Helots. The Helots are going to get dragged into the front. That's fine. Whereas the archers here, the archers are terrible in melee. Especially if we're in the open terrain. They're only going to have 1 attack and 3 defense. The 3 defense is probably fine. Like, if we get caught off off guard defending in the plains. That won't be too bad with the adequate frontage, but we don't want them in the front otherwise. And then the question is, do we want more boats? And the answer probably is yes. Open sea is like 16. Some of the closer water is going to be a little bit narrower frontage. Mostly I'm trying to look for one that is a little narrower frontage, and I'm only finding the 16s. But yeah, I know there is some narrower than 16, but we probably want to get up to 16 ships. We got 12 right now. The question here is, do we grab warships, or do we grab light warships? I think I'm going to grab full-on warships. So it's going to be 4 of those. We can get all that recruit should be done next turn. So let's pass the turn. Let's see how that goes. Let's see if we can even sustain that sort of war footing. So it was 4. Oh, I should grab some skirmish cav for the second stack if I'm going to have 2 stacks. Well, maybe not. I don't have access to skirmish. I should grab some cav. We only got medium cav. Grabbing 4 medium cav wouldn't be too bad. Change recruitment policy. We don't have the manpower for that. Okay. So I got 2 surplus manpower, which arguably means I can't even afford the cav flankers for the second stack. Because they're going to be 3 each. Okay. Okay, we'll merge up all our fleet, merge up all our units. We'll give it 1 more turn, and then I think we're going to get into the staging area for pulling the trigger. Which is mainly, I think we're going to try to deploy out to... We're trying to deploy the main army to Crete Roads, or to Ionia and Crete Roads, and deploy the secondary army to Ebonia. Oh yeah. In Greece. Smokehouse. Those should actually be done next turn. Should provide adequate extra food for the main army. We finish something here in Italia Inferior. Okay, this is the perfect roll. We pulled the salt house. That's perfect. Technically, I think we're importing the salt from Etna, which might not be us. It is us. Yeah, it's Sicily. Okay, that's actually better than I was hoping. I was suspecting it would be Rome instead. Salt House here will give us our 6th health building. That means we can then be rolling for the upgrade of the physician house, the upgrade of the sanitation. Upgrade of the physician house, as we've pulled before, is the prerequisite for this building. We like this building. We want more of this building. That's the plan. Nothing to build here. Okay, so all the production needs to get off of being production. There's maybe an argument to go for money, but I don't think we need the money. With the presumption I don't need the money, I really... And because I actually want more manpower, right? We need to grow up the population. We need more people. We need more people to put behind our spears and shields. And behind the oars on our boats as well. We got a bolster colony, which isn't going to do anything. And we didn't get any interesting decisions, right? No. We're probably still in the progressing tier. We are. In fact, we moved up 2 steps. May have overinvested in legacy, or overinvested in culture, which is usually a good thing to do. Our main army has a food usage of 15. That does mean we're going to want more food out here in the islands, I think, to sustain them. So we're going to put the guy in Ionia on food. We may, once they're there, decide to put even more on food to try to get the provincial to spread some food over. We'll see. Where are we on? Okay, we're level 2. I don't know where exact the breakpoint is for 3. The breakpoint appears to be 50. So in theory, we could sit around for 2 more turns and get the cav up to experience level 3. We're not going to do that. I don't want to leave Persia alone that long. This combat stack needs a lot less food because it doesn't have any heavy infantry. In fact, we're actually manpower negative. I'm in fact manpower negative. Okay. We're gonna try to send you around there. We're not at war with anyone right now, so we don't have to worry about interdiction on our fleet movements. We'll leave the fleet in port. Lots to build in the capital region. There we go. Courthouse. That's a good building. Like courthouses. Here we're probably doing a reroll. So these are both 0 slot options. You do either of them as effectively a reroll. We're going to do the port, because that's actually going to help minimize the action point cost for our troops setting out when we declare. We've only got one place here. Other than maybe fishing for the furnace into the copper works. Crafting district. That's the main thing that crafting district would make harder to find, I think. Well, if we started to do copper, silver, gold plays, right, and then we do the coin maker and the bank, right, which would be harder to find. We'll go ahead and take it anyway. A little bit of revenue will be good. Here we have the bronze works. I'm less interested in the bronze works than I would be the copper works. Copper works at least imports copper. Preceptor house needs papyrus. Trading required. We in theory can import our own papyrus. This is just a thing we're gonna build. That's a scenario where you build that. Unless we were specifically fishing for something. I suppose we arguably are fishing for something. We don't, or we have 6 health buildings. So we'd be rolling for hospital and sewers. Oh, and we're also rolling for land expansion. So there's 2 other things we could be finding. The preceptor house is good enough. I'm on board with rolling for it anyway, so that's fine. We'll just accept that's maybe not optimal. If we get a little bit more construction to get everything done in 1 turn, that would be ideal. A little bit more construction may be a push. I don't think we're going to get there, at least not in everything. Okay, swap everything off of food. And I think that made a difference on nothing. It didn't make anything better. Okay. Something to build here. The hospital makes sense. Yes, the hospital makes sense. And then we just want enough construction in theory to build the hospital. So another, like, 60. Close enough. So that'll finish the physician house. I said hospital, it's the physician house. That's the prerequisite for the hospital. So then once we grow another again, we'll probably be trying to roll for hospital. Then once we have the hospital, we'll be trying to roll for the Greek special building. Once we build the Greek special building, we'll actually probably tear the hospital out. Because we won't need it anymore. We did that move for food, so that's fine. We got an open building slot here. Lots of choices here. I think I do... Well, actually, no, I don't really need the culture right now. So I should probably be picking future choices, not... Or choices that favor growth. So the sanitation, convert it into sewers later is a good idea. Oops. Okay, all the provincials are assigned. In fact, actually, we currently don't have anything to build here. So 15 onto food. Make the food. We want some more growth. We could draft more Paradoki, but we don't really have the manpower to sustain our current forces. Though the current rate, we've got like 108 turns, so we're not like super worried. Yeah, currently not super worried. If we're desperate, we could buy manpower. Still in the progressing tier. I think we moved up a little bit actually in the progressing tier. Where is Persia in this list? Persia's at 9. Okay, so we want to ideally push them to like the declining tier, but that's not going to be easy. We did complete something here. Secret Cult. It will disappear when we hit 20. But honestly, in the meantime, like, this is a place where we're not worried about the conversion pill being malice. Oh, well, the bad thing about it is it requires, it wants more. So it's 18 money to 11 culture. I'd be tempted to buy, or take this if we had access to mer. I'm going to turn my nose up at it because we don't have mer. We have freshwater access from that building. Oh no, that's an agriculture building. Click the wrong one. Okay, so we've got 3 agriculture buildings. Could go for the well. We don't need to max the agriculture out here. I think I'm going to go for the aqueduct. Build up the health. Yeah. I'm going to build the aqueduct, build up the health. Or the alternative is I could go for warehouse. That'd be a lot of infrastructure. Move towards 6 infrastructure buildings so we can get the second land expansion. For 27 infrastructure. No, we'll do health. We're gonna try to go fish for that health building. That way we can go ahead and disband a lot of the health construction that we don't need. Okay, so we got the production done. Everyone back onto food. Or everyone that can go back on the food. Put one more over. Open building slot. So we do want to go a little bit back to construction. Maybe not in a rush to get this one done. Not really interested in hemp. Okay, we're gonna do a reroll here. Because the only one that's even vaguely tempting is blacksmith, and I think I'm going to pass the blacksmith as well. Yeah, and we have the one construction, so that's fine. Lots of building choices over here in Italian Inferior. We have the health buildings. We are now rolling for tier 3 ones. We don't want public bath. We've got 2 open slots. So there is an argument that we just roll what we need versus rolling what we need. So for that, if that is the case, okay, the Oration Tribute is a little bit tempting. We need more culture. We do Oration Tribute. I think we're just going to reshuffle here. 3 here. If I'm going to do the same, which is less of a rush here, we'd probably reroll out of Wash House, because I'm looking for Physician Gymnasium. Yeah, looking for Venetian Gymnasium. Let's hit with the Stonecutter. That'll get us tier 2 infrastructure. Includes the regional road and the land expansion. Public Works, shows up and we don't got anything that's like extra tempting, that's what we do. Clear water is kind of the clean water is about the same as well. Okay. So our main combat stack is in position. The secondary one isn't. Oh, because of the port situation, we are going to need 2 turns to go where I want to go. Yeah. What I was hoping is we'd be able to set out and land, like, here in a turn. I still think... Yeah, I still think we'll be able to get to the destination in a turn. I just think we're going to have to set out, be off our coast instead of off their coast when that happens. We'll go one more turn so we can get our secondary stack in position. Okay, something changed and we're burning through manpower like tickets. That may be the professional army being deployed into a place with inadequate food, maybe? $15 food usage. Place technically doesn't have that, but it has a little bit of stockpile. Okay. We'll see. We'll roll in turn, see how much food we got here. Lost a regional decision, but that's fine. We do have a cash reserve. I think I'm going to use the cash reserve to dip in and grab some manpower. So, Crocus Legacy bounty for men, so 1,000 for 300 men. Not so precious iron. Oh, actually, let's not do the money one. Let's do the Crocus Legacy. Okay, do the metal to men. Offer base equipment to the poor so they can fill the ranks of the army. There we go. That way we can stomach that burn a little bit longer. And I think next turn we declare, order the troops to sail forth. They'll arrive on target. Basically the turn where we're ready to start fighting. Still a glorious monarchy. Persia still stable level. Persia really got a lot of legacy points, so we are going to have to take the fight to them and start breaking their legacy production. Okay, so with you on that island... Okay, this will roughly work. So we'll say you go there. You go there. Fleet goes there. That way we've got a sort of a protective box to protect them. We declare war. On the following turn, when we're at war, we tell these the two land armies, go ahead and attack the garrison in Lycenia here. It's only a palisade. Assuming the Spartans get there first, they should have no problem storming it. If the other stack gets there first, the allied Parochi are going to have a little bit of a struggle trying to storm it. But we'll order a storming for the army. Okay, 2 open slots. You're one of the ones that's doing some re-rolling. Training ground works just as well as a re-roll. Also raises our military expertise a little bit. The capital. Capital is kind of looking for loyalty. We need loyalty here. So farm's bad. That's going to make the loyalty get worse quicker. Equipment would be tempting, especially that reduction in manpower. Additional reduction in manpower. But we're looking for loyalty. Conversion bonus. We don't really have people to convert. This is the capital. It's not getting into the bonuses, so it's a little bad on the taxation. So we're going to do a reroll here. Do need all the construction. Cycle into the next one. Nothing to build there. stuff to build here. We're not going to build a lot here until the army is away. We don't have a wall here, so it would make sense to potentially build this building. Apparently right now it's out of range of iron, which is the capital. What is it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you had a regional road, you'd be able to import the iron. Do I want to pay the money while we're short that? I think I'm going to say no, because we don't have weapons. If we had weapons, we're getting the manpower, I'd be on board with it. Don't need the loyalty bonus here yet. If I'm doing farm building, I would want something better than a stud. We do in theory have access to the farm. No orchard. Okay, so we'd be in a scenario where we probably are kind of stuck doing something like a stud if we would go farm. Probably can do a reroll. There's like a 66% chance I'd get Salt House, Smokehouse, which are the two that I would want. So let's do a reroll in that spot. The other one, where we've only got one building slot, hit Clearwater. Definitely just build the Clearwater. And that will actually build with what we've got. Open slot here, 2 building slots. Sewer is one of the ones we want, so I'll build the sewer. It's going to take a while to build because sewers are expensive. But they're free building slots. They basically give you the sanitation slot back. Okay, let's cycle the turn. The war declaration should arrive. Our troops should be prepared to do their landing. Okay. Our allies are proposing a deal. They give me metal, they give me manpower, I give them some troop. I'm on board with it. You can have some more troop. Bellicose Sparta nation has declared war on Persia, yes. Athens joins our side. Athens joins their side. Armenia joins their side. Our client state joins our side. Bactricia joins their side. And there's a slave market choice. Go ahead and distribute. Okay. Fleet 2, blockading stance. You order an assault. I'm actually just going to order them to go to ground. Or go to the province. I don't want them trying to storm the fort in case they get there first. Arguably they're here to serve as bait to try to lure out the Persian army into favorable terrain, and or to protect the flanks if we're in the open terrain. So there's 2 open terrain provinces here, 2 plains. The rest is going to be hills and mountains and forests. Ideally, we want to catch them in the hills with the Spartans. So we'll probably have the weaker army doing sieges, whereas the Spartans probably just run around to try to fight people in open field battles. There we go. We got one, and we've got open building slots. Potter. We definitely need that Potter. 4 nearby structures would produce more. Okay, we'd lose 2 food, 30 more money, 5 more culture, 10 more equipment. That's almost like a no-brainer. Yeah, build the Potter. Oh, but that was that province. That's the province we're looking for particularly building. Okay, so we're gonna skip that. Really do want that Potter. Yeah, really do want that Potter. This is another building we want. This is a situation where there isn't a drawback on building it, so we're gonna build it. And this is one of the reasons we do want a temple building everywhere. Temple class building everywhere. And you note it says temple. The cult site, which is not a temple, but it's part of the temple line, counts as a temple for this purpose. why it says temple and not the cult line. That's the building. There we go. So that's a bunch of 34 culture. Also, more importantly, half of one legacy. Open slot. We actually are going to build something here. I was about to say build something, but no, we're going to reroll. We have buildings we know we can build. We want sewer. I want physician house. If I pulled the stadium, I'd do the upgrade. We want Stoa should be in the list, I think. Stoa's in the list, we do Stoa. There's also... I've got the cult building as well, so if the building we're just building, I just talked about, that was a culture building down here in Laconia, showed up, we do that as well. That's the... Propaglia, this one. That one showed up, we do that as well. So this is going to be real, because yes, we want to build something there. No, we don't want to build any options being presented. 1 and 3. Salt house. And did you get something useful? Training ground is pretty useful. And then we want to put more guys back on production. We want to be building this stuff faster, and that we're not trying to feed the army, because the army isn't in this state anymore. The army is at sea. Okay. Back over here, sewers are going to take quite a while. We are still going to try to build and roll everything else. We've got 2 slots here. We're really looking for the physician. Yeah, we're looking for the physician on that row. Looking for land expansion on that row. Looking for regional road on that row. Maybe an argument to build up some of the commerce buildings. Oh, there's also a couple of... There's lots of buildings we want to build. I don't think those are any ones I particularly want right now. That's one of the ones I want. The smokehouse is nice. And there we are. Troops are deploying. This will be the moment of truth. Do we land safely? And does the assault go off well? Okay, we land. 22 units versus 7. This is the Spartans. This is the assault. Ranged fire. Most of the enemy front line exhausted. And as a side effect, they've been 2 on their single roll with a total rating of 4. We're coming in with a total rating of 9 with a minimum of 7. So they have to roll real well to have any hopes of survival. And yeah, one of them actually rolled okay. That wasn't enough to save them. Now, needless to say that dropped our culture to decadence ratio, because, you know, we now have a lot more decadence and not a lot more culture. What do we want here? The farm wouldn't be too bad of a choice. Sanitation wouldn't be too bad of a choice. Let's, yeah, let's go sanitation. Take those guys off. Food. Actually, there's a little bit of an argument maybe here to do quite a bit of food. Because we'll be next to it for a while. Yeah, we'll slow down the production a little bit. Once again, we'll go ahead and order an assault. It's a level 1 fort. So they're only going to get +1 on the defense. Worst case scenario, these guys will still be in the fort. Okay. 3 defense. They're not going to appreciate Spartans. Where's the biggest fort in the area? That's probably the biggest fort in the area at city walls. We're gonna start marching that way. These guys are gonna, because we're gonna be in the open. I've mainly got the two armies traveling together while we're in the open. Once we've taken the open, we move out of the open. The smaller secondary army is simply gonna move straight over to the biggest fort in the area and start laying siege to it. We're the main combat stack. Again, with all the level 1s, we'll probably just run around just storming them in a way to try to disrupt and take a lot of territory very rapidly. Because the Spartan hoplites can just do that, apparently. 2-1. Ooh. Yeah, I can't turn down the 2-1. We're gonna lose a little bit of combat effectiveness as a side effect. But that be reality sometimes. Extra die rolls too strong. Okay, we got 2 open slots here. I'm very tempted to grab the stables. This will give us another place where we can get cavalry from. This would also be the 3rd military building, gives us access to tier 2 military buildings. And land expansion is acceptable. Really, we want to get you either the temple upgrade before you hit 16, or the Propylia. Now, you might imagine the Propylia is going to be a little bit hard because we need access to tier 2 culture buildings. We could technically build the monument. I'd build the monument as a reroll. We don't need that much construction anymore, I think. Or infrastructure. Okay, we could save about like 40 right now. And not delete the stockpile any. Get a little more growth in Sparta, capital Sparta a little bit. Okay. We got a stadium upgrade. +1 manpower, +4 health. It's a little expensive. Brandon, I think that's +1 manpower after applying all our malices. Which means it's actually something like 4 or 5 base. Like it's still pretty good. And I think that is I think that's a flat manpower. Yeah. $94. There we go. Stadium's still gonna take 3 turns. It is a fairly expensive building. Same thing with the sewers. The sewers are still kicking around because they're expensive. We'll take the training ground. And that's the building for the turn. A little bit of a phone call there. We're kind of in a good place. I'm going to go ahead and roll out this end turn, and we'll actually begin the next part in the beginning of a turn. After I go figure out what's happening with that phone call. Okay. Okay, the Persian army attempts to escape the destruction of their fortified group. That probably was actually worse than trying to hold the fort. Entire enemy front line exhausted. And yeah, min roll exhausted regulars are gonna have a real bad day. Real bad day. 2v9, I'm rolling a minimum of 6. I'd be rolling 7, but because we changed leaders, we lost 1 efficiency level. These guys are taking more losses than they had losses to take. That's how bad the exchange is going here. Now, the thing I'm worried about, which will eventually arrive, is the Persian army. Yeah, we're happily smoking the local garrisons. But the Persian army is going to be large. At least I think it's going to be large. Dalmatia transaction. 2 clauses. You just want me to give you... No. No. Distribute. There we go. Okay, so that's where we're going to head and put the part break in. Longer than my 30 to 40 minute usual episodes. A little bit shorter than I was planning. I was originally planning to do about an hour. If you're watching YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I'll be back with the next part as soon as I've figured out what was going on with that phone call. And then we'll be back to continue this. We're fighting the Persians. We're going to be fighting the Persians and fighting them and fighting them and fighting them. It's going to be days. It's gonna be streams probably to take the Persians down. Yeah. So with that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Until the next part, and bye for now.